But what does marketing look like or mean to you when I say that?
Well, I think a lot of people make a mistake. They wait to market after they've got they wait to do the marketing after they've got the product. And marketing really starts way before that. Marketing starts the moment you have your idea. When you start testing that idea out with people. You're trying to draw in a fan base. Really, that's what we think. There's some magic formula to marketing, but really is connecting with fans. It's getting people excited about what you're excited about. And that starts from kind of the very beginning, the conception of the idea. And so marketing to me is really finding ways that you can connect with people and new people, which can be tricky because most of the time you're dependent on the charity of other people when you're doing that. When you mentioned building your own platform, normally you're going on people's podcasts like this or other people's shows. You're dependent upon their charity. And there are people out there that definitely abuse that charity a great deal. They make it very difficult for anybody to want to market you or want to promote you. Uh, so we're noticing that a lot of what we call shill shows are going away. And, now platforms are either banning you or shadow banning you. The other part of marketing was going on a platform that had automatic traffic. And now we're not getting that. And so the best advice, that I ever took was to build my own platform, to kind of build um, my own society of fans, if you will, my own community. And that can be very difficult, but it's one fan at a time, I think, is really the best way to do that. It's reaching one person at a time. And it's a hustle. I think we all want to get to those places like Tim Pool, where he's got this big audience, or EVS or somebody.
But the thing is that especially like for the people of us here, like in the quote unquote Iron Age, it's really about finding people like us and finding the people that we connect with and finding people that are passionate about the stuff that we're passionate about. The beauty of you know a bomb being thrown into the middle of the corporate system is that everyone is now kind of scrambling to find the thing that they gravitate towards. And what's beautiful is I think more people are going to find the things that they gravitate towards that are way outside the norm because most people don't like the norm stuff. It's I talked about it with my episode with Joe Ball about there's no more rock stars because everyone gets to listen to whatever music they can find on the internet, which isn't the stuff that the corporations used to push. And we're having the same thing happen in comics. And we were talking a little bit about how a lot of the impetus between this whole diaspora was politics. But I think to kind of keep any of this about politics is it's silly because the bottom line is which side of the corporation you're on depends at what point in history you're on. So like to think that they're pushing you for any benevolent reason is always stupid. Like I am a member of the LGBTQ community, and to think that they have my interests because they want to talk about my people now is stupid because they've persecuted us for a
Right.
long
Yeah.
time up until now.
Oh, you must love June. I call that corporate pander month. It's like, oh my gosh, like these people they don't care. They honestly don't care. It is, yeah, so today it's conservative voices.
Well, that was the weirdest thing for me is in the past 5 years watching this shift between leftists starting to love companies, and I'm like, what is wrong with you people? Like, as far long as I've been, we've all been anti-corporate. That's fascism, right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So I mean, today it's conservative voices that are getting silenced, and tomorrow the next day it's probably going to be more liberal voices because the pendulum swings. And so I wanted to create a platform where, here's the thing: freedom only works if it works for everybody, like if everybody gets it. And so that's what I wanted from my comic to be, where friend and foe could fund on there, no matter what. And it takes some guts. It takes some work to do that. But politics may have started this thing. Politics will always come in and affect you in some way. There is a culture war. I mean, let's be honest. There is one. You can't ignore it at this point. It is in your face every day. But I fight the culture war in my community by getting involved. I fight the culture war with my family by, sharing the right way to communicate with people. I fight the culture war by actually having conversations with people that are different than me, and trying to find common ground. That's where I fight it. I still want comic books to have escapism. I left the mainstream because of the influence of activists. And I don't want to become the activist on the other side of the aisle kind of thing. I still want comics books to be fun.
That's hitting me in a real and personal way. Now, I actually got an email or a message on one of my platforms the other day about someone wanting to come on the show and promote their book, and was doing just a little checkup on the background of the person, and essentially the idea of the novel, it's a pulp book set in what do you call it, like Southern California is essentially what they pitched it as. But doing research on the writer, it's a boomer-aged, gay, former professor at Oberlin College, and I'm like, I'm totally cool with helping promote this book, but then I'm wondering what kind of negative backlash is that going to bring me from that side of the aisle, like. I already have guessed that if I'm sure if we were to talk politics, would hate me, and like I'm okay with that, but I don't want to be the curator, but at the same time, like, is it going to bring more headaches than I want to deal with? Also,
yeah, you do have to curate your brand. I get real sick of these purity tests, and I may not have a purity test. My kind of rule is if you're cool, then you get to hang out with me, right? Just don't be a dick. That's kind of my rule. Don't be a dick. And unfortunately,
well, my real concern is just that I once had a podcast years ago about libertarian music, and I had a guest on, and then one of his band members, kind of in the very beginning of the last thing that happened in the world, when I talk about, I had to go and scramble and take down every instance of that podcast, like 2 years after it happened, because this person like went out, like threatened to physically hurt people if we couldn't get rid of it, because something was said in it that like they were politically against, and it's like I don't want to be in that position again. Like I'm not going to make anybody say anything that they don't believe, but when people's can be so negative and change in a dime like that, it's like, is this gonna be another one of those things? And I struggle.
and I would like to think that it's just like one side that gets that way, but it's not. Like both sides can get very militant when they get very passionate. And I'm passionate about comic books and games and fun media and saying F you to the corporations. I mean, they're taking all this money, and one of the big things about the pink site and the green site is they take 5%. And when the pink site starts shadow banning you and they're still taking 5%, that just upsets me, because you're paying them basically to keep you silent, to keep you away from everyone. That's not right. You went there because of the traffic that you assumed they would bring you, but they're not.
Well, and it becomes even worse when you start getting into ESG, and then they're taking pension funds to force ideas and blacklist people with money that they shouldn't be getting either.
Yeah, and so corporations, I'm all for capitalism, but I don't like corporations just taking and hogging all the money. So I thought we got to have a way.
There's nothing capitalist about corporations anymore.
No,
I'll be the first to say that.
Yeah, and so
way off topic of marketing, I guess.
Yeah. Well, a little bit, but I mean,
Well, I guess how about
they've
this?
marketed
How
everything.
we turn this?
They own it all, right? So they have the keys to the car. They tell you what to think. They tell you what to buy, and what's good and what's bad. I mean, they own. I mean, look, if I owned the reviewers that were reviewing my book, I could tell them what to say about my book, right? How is that fair?
Which we're watching in movies happen every day now.
Every
When they
day.
refuse to post reviews for things, or they hide reviews, delete reviews,
They're
make
not being
reviews not
honest, right?
possible for like